r/askreddit, if you could go back in time and prevent one event in human history from happening, what event would you choose? I just asked if you wanted fries with that. Russia, we get first man on moon. Ha 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 ha. But in whatever language Russian people speak. I'd stop that kid from falling into Harambe's habitat. I mean things really haven't been great since. Dicks out. I'd cock-block the dad and stop them from ever having that kid. Rip Harambe. Cy being from Cincinnati. That damn gorilla. When I go to shows sometimes they still mention Harambe when talking about being in Cincy. But for a few years it was every concert. That's actually a serious moral dilemma. If Harambe is not killed, he and everything he stands for will never be relevant. Thus, by saving the gorilla Harambe, you kill the idea of Harambe. That time I thought it was a fantastic idea to ask out Lisa Bates in front of half my class at school instead of doing it quietly out of the way. It was not a fantastic idea at all. So you're married to her now? In the beginning the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. My first marriage. Honestly, same. Burning of the Library of Alexandria. I swear to God we were this close to ancient internet. Too bad we ended up with modern internet. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. The war would have happened anyway. France and Germany were itching for any excuse to go to war with one another. I'd go back and put George Hudson in a coma, goddamn daylight savings time. I would prevent Kennedy's assassination. Howdy stranger. There's a really awesome novel about this by Stephen King called November 22nd, 63. It's about a man going back in time to do exactly that. It's a great read and also has a crazy, fictional, look into how the world could have evolved had Kennedy not been shot. Happy reading. John or Robert? Robert Kennedy would have likely beat Nixon. And somebody greenlit this tomfuckery. Stephen King has already explained why this is a bad idea. Never should have left the trees. You'd have to go back in time and kick random adventurous apes in the nuts to stop them exploring. I'd go back November 25th, 1120 and make sure that Henry I's son William Adelin didn't board the white ship, or failing that the white ship wasn't able to sail. I'm picking this one because the ripple effect could be enormous and because it's one of the few events that could realistically be prevented by one person and where the circumstances weren't likely to be repeated anytime soon. As someone unfamiliar with this event, what would have been some of the further reaching ripple effects? Farting that one time in 3rd grade class. I really needed the friends and that tarnished it. Hitler, I'd kill him dead while he painted away in Paris. No remorse, no hint of regret. He killed all my European family tree. Cousins, aunts, uncles. We'll never meet them. Thousands of other families, I know, feel the same. Every time someone suggests killing Hitler in time travel, I suggest to read the novel Making History by Stephen Fry. It's a story about a young man going back in time, killing Hitler, and return to the present, only to learn that this actually made everything worse. Eating at a shitty restaurant last week. Definitely would go somewhere else. The Kennedy assassinations, because I've always been kinda curious how things would be different if John and Robert Kennedy hadn't been killed by assholes. So long and thanks for all the fish. November 22nd, 63 by Stephen King is an interesting book/Hulu original that explores this. I would prevent the death of that guy's dead wife. I've been looking for this comment. I'd stop Cliff Burton from getting on the bus. Hey Lars, switch bunks with Cliff. The horrible shit that happened to Junko Furuta. Or the radiation incident with Hisashi Aoki. Both if I could. They both went through literal hell. I would change how they sent that poor dog to space to die out there, all alone. Wasn't just one, though. The Library of Alexandria being burnt down, would be nice to still have that knowledge. This might be kind of small, but I think if that bullshit vote tampering in Florida hadn't gone through the SC and Al Gore became president, we might have been slightly less fucked regarding climate change than we currently are. If you pick something big like preventing Hitler's rise to power or something, someone else might just take his place or something worse might happen in replacement of it. 42. I wouldn't let you eat bats. My birth. But then nobody would prevent your birth, so you are born, and then decide and unbirth yourself again when you time travel. Congrats, you bootstrap paradoxed yourself. I also choose this guy's birth. COVID-19. The Hitler thing was bad, but honestly I'd go back and prevent the evolution of combat in 2 rupees, now Rs 3. Columbine. I think I would go back to the day that the city Columbine was named, and get them to name it Happy Town. Just to see how things would play out. I would go back in time just enough to prevent my annoying boss from being born. Dropping that ice cream cone on the driveway when I was 6 years old. The memory still haunts me. It was sneezed out of the nose of the Great Green Arkley Seizure. Constantine officially converting the Roman Empire to Christianity. I wonder how different the world would be if 9/11 didn't happen. There would be no Twilight Saga. Switch one vote in Bush v. Gore and it wouldn't have. The outgoing administration handed its successor extensive intelligence on Osama bin Laden's plots against the US, which the Bushis disregarded. That one lazy dickhead who realized that if you planted crops near your house, you didn't have to move your food around, and now I have to pay taxes and rent. Yeah, but you also don't starve, and are rarely eaten by wolves these days. Assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Andrew Johnson's Reconstruction brought us the KKK, and set back human rights by about 100 years. Woodrow Wilson didn't help either, excising blacks from the federal government payrolls. 2005 Ashes second test. I would make sure all the balls were picked up during warm-up so Glenn McGrath doesn't roll his ankle. Would have been cool to give Al Gore a chance at US president. If you choose something broad, does that mean it can never happen, or it just didn't happen the same way / at the same time it happened in our universe? No 9/11 or war on terror. Ronald Reagan from winning in 1980. The Vietnam War. Out of all the wars, why that one? I'd prevent myself from eating spicy curry for dinner last night. I would like to personally replace Carnegie as one of the wealthiest businessmen of the early industrial US cause he was one of Nikola Tesla's main backers. Knowing what I know of Tesla, fund that man. Free electricity THSTS wireless. Like if I say the moon landing. Does that mean that man can never land on the moon at all? Or just that something prevents the US from sending men to the moon in 1969? Ah, a lawyer I see.